Welcome to the Deep Dive. Today we're looking into something called third-order relational psychotherapy. It's based on a new book by Dr. Raul Medina Centeno. He's a professor at Guadalajara University and also did a fellowship at Cambridge.
Right. And it's quite a different way of thinking about therapy, isn't it?
It really is. We usually focus on, the individual, but this approach, it really pushes us to consider the bigger picture.
Yeah, things like, well, the groups we belong to, our culture, maybe the economy, social class.
Exactly, how all these wider systems impact our personal well-being.
In a much broader lens.
So our mission today, really, is to try and understand how these larger societal forces connect with our sort of personal struggles.
And how this particular framework might offer ways to create positive change.
Okay, so digging in a bit, the book talks about cultural symbolism and socio-emotional frameworks, how these give us meaning.
Yes, precisely. Think about it like the shared background understanding we all operate within, our values, our beliefs. These things create a kind of landscape for our emotions and connections.
And how does that connect to mental health specifically?
Well, this approach looks at disruptions in what Dr. Medina Centeno calls solidarity dialogue.
Solidarity dialogue.
Yeah, basically the ways we connect, support each other, and find common ground. When that breaks down, or when, say, patterns of violence become more prevalent in a community, that disruption on the larger scale can actually show up as individual psychological distress.
Okay, so it kind of trickles down. Like if society's fractured, it affects us personally.
That's a good way to put it.
Yeah.
It suggests our internal world isn't separate from the external social world.
Right. And the therapy aims for third-order change. What makes it third order?
Okay, so imagine first-order change is like changing a specific behavior.
Got it.
Second order might be changing the rules or patterns within a system, maybe like a family. Third order change, though, that's deeper. It's about fundamentally shifting how we perceive and relate to these larger sociocultural emotional systems themselves.
So it's about seeing our connection to the system differently.
Exactly. Moving from perhaps feeling like a victim of these big forces.
Which is easy to feel sometimes.
Absolutely. Moving from that to recognizing, our interconnectedness within them, and maybe even our ability to influence them, however small.
That's a big shift.
It is.
The book also brings up concepts like indignant love and solidarity. What roles do they play?
Well, indignant love. Think of it as that feeling when you see unfairness or injustice, and it sparks this powerful mix of anger and care.
Okay, outrage plus compassion.
Yeah, and that becomes a real motivator, not just for personal change, but for wanting to change the wider system that allows the injustice.
And solidarity.
Solidarity is that practical sense of connection, of mutual support. It's recognizing we share a common fate, in a way, and that supporting each other within our communities is vital. It's the foundation for healthy dialogue.
So putting it all together, what's the main clinical goal here? What are the therapists trying to achieve with this approach?
The central aim, really, is to help people, individuals, families, even whole communities get back to dialogue that's actually grounded in that solidarity.
Rebuilding connection and understanding.
Yes, fostering empathy, respectful conversation, even when things are difficult, all within that broader social context we live in.
Makes sense. Who is this book really aimed at then? Who would get the most out of it?
Primarily, it's for people in the helping professions. Students and practitioners in psychology, clinical psychology, psychotherapy, counseling.
The usual suspects.
Right. But also, importantly, anyone involved in community work, community health, social development.
Because they directly engage with those larger systems.
Exactly. They'll find insights into how these broader social factors are affecting the people and communities they work with.
So, wrapping up, the key takeaway seems to be that this third-order relational psychotherapy really wants us to widen our view.
Definitely. To look beyond just the individual's internal state and see how these big social systems, culture, economy, social structures are deeply influencing our well-being.
And the path forward involves fostering solidarity and dialogue.
Precisely. It suggests that by understanding these wider forces, we might find new ways to approach personal challenges and build stronger, healthier connections.
Which leads to a final thought, maybe for you listening. How might considering this wider societal context, the groups you're part of, the cultural messages you receive, the economic pressures offer you a different perspective on any challenges you're facing right now? Could seeing those connections open up new paths for you towards healing, or maybe just towards feeling more connected? Something to think about. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive.